What is good, internet? It is Spirit of Paradox here, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be doing the Ultimate issue number 3, 21st Century Boy. And in this issue is about Captain America in the 21st century, in the Ultimate Universe. And there's loads of little references and cameos to people in here too. But before we start, people, if you are fans of the Ultimate Universe, this is the channel you want to be on. I'm going to be uploading content relating to the Ultimate Universe on the channel, and we are going to be doing this as a lead up to the upcoming story that is coming this June 21st, Ultimate Invasion, where we get to see the Ultimate Universe come back with the Maker and the Ultimates, written by and drawn by Jonathan Hickman and Brian Hitch. So with all further ado, let's start Ultimate issue number 3, 20th Century Boy. We begin with Giant Man walking over some ladies in the countrysides of England, and he says, "Afternoon, ladies." We also see that he is not alone, and Janet Pym is taking photos or recording him, seeing how he's doing in his Giant Man form. Janet and Hank would go back and forth for a little bit, and then she would ask him, "How are your pupils holding up in direct sunlight?" And he would respond with, "Fine, as long as I'm wearing the shades. In fact, the only real problem I'm having is how quickly I get hungry after height manipulation. I feel like I could eat a farm." Well, the first rule of dropping size, darling, never eat before shrinking or things could get really messy. So, if anyone's ever wondering why the Hulk is always hungry when he transforms, now you know. The food doesn't increase in size. Giant Man tells Janet, "God, can you believe we're really going to be superheroes? I mean, you and me, the two biggest science nerds on the planet out there, fighting for truth, justice, and the American way." If you guys don't know what that quote is, that is Superman's quote. How much does this make up for all of those years we never got picked to play for the high school sports teams? Janet says, "To be honest, I'm really just looking at Nick Fury's Ultimates thing as a fresh new start for me and you, Dr. Pym." And then her phone starts to ring, and then she says, "Oh, can't they give us a minute to ourselves?" Giant Man asks, "Anything interesting, sweetheart?" And then Janet just looks transfixed, and we all know what this means. And Giant Man asks, "Jan?" In the next page we go to a SHIELD facility, and we see General Fury talking to Tony Stark, and he says this: "In 1945, the world's first genetically enhanced soldier disappears in a nuclear blast 500 miles off the coast of Newfoundland. 24 hours ago, a small team of marine biologists found him perfectly preserved in a block of ice, and this Captain America hasn't aged a frickin' day. Now, you try telling me the significance of this find is anything short of monumental, Tony. If anyone here needed a sign that we're doing the right thing by reinventing the super soldier program like this, then finding Steve Rogers has got to be it, right?" Tony responds, "It's like something out of a Joseph Campbell book, General Fury. Our country's greatest hero coming back in an hour when we need him the most. I'm glad I got 50% on the merchandise rights." Fury then says, "Man, Bruce Banner must feel like he's reviving Santa Claus on that table down there." "Oh yeah, she sure as hell does, Fury. I'll wait till issue number 5. Captain America starts to wake up, and the first person he sees is Bruce Banner. And Bruce Banner says, "Captain America, my name is Dr. Robert Bruce Banner, and I am the new assistant principal of the Super Soldier program you joined in 1942. The gentlemen behind me are industrialist Tony Stark and head of SHIELD and International Security, General Nicholas Fury." Bruce tries to reassure Captain America by saying, "I know how this must look, but really, you are really among friends here, sir." And we see loads of soldiers arming their weapons at him. Captain America finally starts to speak and says, What in God's name is going on here, mister? What happened to the Nazi nuclear facility? We were dropped into a sabotage. You neutralized it, Captain. The mission was a success, and the Allies won the war, but not without a price, I'm afraid. I think you better brace yourself for this, soldier, Nick Fury says. Steve asked, how long have I been out, Doc? And Bruce says, actually, that's what we wanted to talk to you about, Steve. We're still not sure if this was suspended animation or just an unsuspected side effect of the super soldier serum, but... And then Steve would just get angry and say, would somebody just give me a straight answer here? And then Bruce and Nick Fury and Tony as well talk among themselves and then give him an answer. 57 years, Captain. As soon as Steve Rogers heard that, he wasn't having any of it. He just starts beating the crap out of everybody in the room. He straight up knocks guys out of the room by the door. He starts to disarm Nick Fury and he says, yo, sorry Fritz, the accents are flawless, but you really should have done your homework. The highest ranking black man in the US Army is a Brooklyn-born captain I grew up with. And then the soldiers in the room are like, hit him with the tranks, hit him with the tranks. And then Captain America just straight up picks up this plate and uses it as a shield to deflect most of them. And then he's like, for the love of God, Banner, I thought you were said we'd be lucky if he was strong enough to talk. So I guess I must have dropped a decimal point somewhere, Mr. Stark. And then basically Steve Rogers busts out of the laboratory and just starts sliding down the building. If you guys actually have read or watched Ultimate Avengers, like the cartoon, like the animated movie of the Ultimates basically, this scene is very cool in the animated film, I just want to say. But this scene is also cool, but in the animated film, this scene was boss, but anyway. And then somebody basically just fires up the radio and says, attention all SHIELD personnel, Captain America has escaped. I repeat, Captain America has escaped. Follow drill practice 703 and initiate containment procedure. And then people are like, what? And then they see him go by and they're like, you have got to be kidding me. And you see bare soldiers in cars and vehicles are shooting at Captain America trying to catch him. And then someone says, well, do you want to take care of this or will I, Mr. Pym? And then Giant Man comes in and stops the situation by giving Captain America a giant high five into a car. And then says, the situation's well in hand, Mrs. Pym. And then Bruce is like, holy jeez, like, yeah, I sure as hell would be. And then Tony Stark's like, well in hand? Are you out of your mind? You just killed Captain America, you idiot. And then Giant Man's like, relax, Stark, he's still wiggling. It doesn't matter how many times you do this stuff, Pym, it still makes me want to heave every time I see it. Bruce would add, I guess this little trauma was all the evidence I needed that the Hulk was out of my system, huh, Dr. Pym? And then she would say, don't sound so disappointed, Dr. Banner. In the next page we see Captain America and Nick Fury in a limousine, going by his old area. And Captain America says, listen, I'm really sorry about breaking your nose back there, General Fury. And Fury would respond, take it easy, Captain. This nose has been smashed more than Robert Downey Jr. So yes, people, that is a Robert Downey Jr. reference in the Ultimate Universe. He is about in that universe. The General continues, it's you we're worried about right now, soldier. Are you absolutely sure this is the right time to put yourself through something like this, man? Steve says it real. Sir, I just found out my fiance's married to my old best friend, and they've had 4 kids and 7 grandchildren. Let's be realistic here. There's never going to be a good time. And Nicholas Fury is like, fair point. Steve asks, how did Bucky sound on the phone? Fury would respond with, like an old sick man who just found out his best friend is back from the dead. The guy's got cancer, so be easy on him, huh? And in the next page we get Old Man Bucky. So yes, Bucky Barnes in the Ultimate Universe does not become the Winter Soldier, and he does get old and has a relatively normal life. Fury even says to him, "Hole in one, Corporal Barnes. Now, are you gonna invite us in for some coffee, or do I have to pull my gun on you, old-timer?" They go inside, and Barnes says, geez, I'm sorry, fellas. Here, let me take your coats and you guys go grab a seat in the living rooms. And, boys, run upstairs and tell your grandma they're here, okay?" Fury would say, "Much obliged, soldier. Interesting little place you got here, by the way. You take all of these pictures yourself?" Bucky would say, "Oh yeah, those were all of the old front pages from the Times and the Post, but they put me to pasture close to 18 years ago now, General. Gail and I just take care of the eldest daughter. Sharon's 2 boys, 3 days and a week so she can get back to work." And he turns round, and then he starts to cry. And then Bucky starts to recognize Steve, and they have that moment of shock. And then Steve says, "Bucky, it's me, you numbskull." And then Bucky just runs up into his arms, hugging him. And then Steve says, "What did I tell you about those stupid cigarettes, kid?" And they have a great moment here, I must say. And then he says, "Oh, Stevie, I'm so embarrassed. I wish the ground would just open up and swallow me whole. I swear to God, Steve, I swear to God, we thought you were dead." Steve says, "I feel like Rip Van Winkle, Bucky. All I did was blink, and the whole world just left me behind." Mother of God, it's like you just stepped out of an old photograph, buddy. "Where's Gail?" Steve asks. "Still upstairs getting ready, I think. Boys, I thought I told you to tell Grandma to come downstairs to see us." "She says she doesn't want to come down, Grandpa. She's just sitting on the stairs looking out the window and crying." Bucky starts heading upstairs and says, "Gail, what the heck are you playing at, honey? The guy is standing right here in the hallway." And then she says, "I don't care. Tell him I changed my mind." She says, "Why should I listen to him? He never listened to me. I told him they were going to destroy us the minute they started pumping chemicals into his body. But he wanted to look like a movie star. Oh no, being an ordinary person was never enough for him." Steve says, "Gail, please, I just want to see you for 5 minutes." And she says, "Not like this you don't. Not like this you don't, Steve. Believe me." Next we go to a cemetery and we see Steve Rogers and Nick Fury there. And we find out this is actually the gravesite of Steve's parents. And Fury says, "Father, Joseph Harvey Rogers, died February 18th, 1954. Cause of death, acute microbial infraction due to coronary thrombosis." And I don't know how to pronounce that word, my apologies. "Mother, Sarah Alicia Rogers, died March 12, 1967. Cause of death, coronal or chronic obstructive lung disease." "Brother, Douglas Lincoln Rogers, died February 19th, 1972. Cause of death, cerebral hematoma due to hypothalamic insufficiency." Sorry, apologies there, people. You sure you want me to keep going, Captain?" And then Captain says, "They're my family, sir. I need to know what happened to them. Did Douglas ever have any kids? According to this, Douglas Lincoln Rogers survived by 2 children from first marriage, a son who was shot dead by narcotics officers, and a daughter who's married, currently living in Ohio and working for Pacific Bell. Would you like us to arrange a reunion? Transport could have you in Ohio by 1800 tonight." Steve says, "What's the point? She doesn't even know me. Nobody even knows me anymore. Even the little kids that I remember are all old men now. You should have left me in the ice where I belonged, General." Everything I ever loved is gone. And Fury says, not everything, Captain. And then he points towards the American flag, and Steve looks at it. And then we get some dialogue saying, are we really paying these guys $500 a head just to wave a flag? In the next page, we go to a party where everyone's dressed really well and we see big lights and cameras and so on. And Betty Ross says to Nick Fury, it's a small price to pay for looking good on television, Nick. This launch party is being broadcasted in 42 different languages, and the last thing the world wants to see is a bunch of pimple-faced fatties cheering on their favorite superhero team. Well, you're not the one justifying $500,000 on male models in the next budget review, Betty, honey. The General continues, 5,000 technicians, 10,000 support troops, a headquarters designed by Norman Foster, and all-the-star gala opening night. Right now this feels more like a Hollywood event than a launch of S.H.I.E.L.D's new defense initiative. The difference between us and Hollywood, General, is that I am going to make the Ultimates really famous. And then we start to see members of the Ultimates are in the party as well. And we see Tony Stark talking to Bruce. And he says, pretty little ex you've got over there, Banner. Kinky that she's General Ross's daughter too, eh? Ever wonder what she'd look like in her dad's old army uniform and a big mustache on? And Bruce says, no. And she isn't my ex, Stark. We're just in the middle of a separation trial, or trial separation. Besides, aren't you supposed to be with Jennifer Tilly? Oh yes, but you always have to keep your options open with these Hollywood heartbreakers, Brucey. One minute they're on you like Oprah on a Twinkie, and next they're a cover-up story for some limp-wristed psychologist. A reporter comes up to Tony and says, pardon me, Mr. Stark, could you spare me a few moments for 60 minutes to explain your sponsorship on the Ultimates and the intricacies of your new Iron Man armor? Like, can you spare me a few moments for 60 minutes, you know? Jesus! And Tony Stark's like, darling, you have my undivided attention for the rest of the evening. And he says, Jarvis, another drink for our former Hulk, if you don't mind. Oh, of course, sir. After all, I am but your lowly butler, and my time isn't nearly as precious as your superhero atrocity. Cheer up, Master Bruce. You're not the only one who's ever been alone in a crowd, you know. Next, we see Hank and Janet Pym talking to General Fury and the President of the United States, and Hank says, Kevlar costume, Captain America jet, Captain America tank. I feel like I'm playing with my old G.I. Joes again, Mr. President. I haven't had this much fun in years. Tell me about the shield we designed for him too, Hank. What would Captain America be without his shield? The President asks Fury, is he as strong as you expected, General? Stronger, sir. Is he smart? Tactically off the scale, Mr. President. There's genuinely nobody in existence I'd rather have leading this team while they're out there on the field. Add this Thunder God guy to the mix, plus all of those super soldiers Banner can create from Captain America's blood. I don't see anyone acting up for a while. Do you, sir? No, I don't, General Fury. No, I don't. And President Bush asks, well, what's your verdict on the 21st century Captain America? Cool or uncool? And then Captain America in his famous quote says, cool, Mr. President. Definitely cool. So that was Ultimate issue number 3. And I have got to say, this was a pretty good issue. It's really more about character development for Captain America and to reintroduce the character in the early days of the Ultimate Universe. I would definitely say he was a lot more flawed compared to his 6-1 counterpart, or 616 counterpart, I should say, and I really like this one. You know, I can't wait to get to issue number 5 because that's my favourite issue of the Ultimates original series, and I can't wait to get to that one. I'm going to be doing some other stories as well, like Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm going to do a event story. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do for that just yet. But thank you very much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you drop a like. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. If you are fans of the Ultimate Universe, this is the channel you want to be on. We're going to be doing uploads of content surrounding the Ultimate Universe, and we're going to be doing this as a lead up to the main event that's coming this summer with Ultimate Invasion. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.